Gentlelady from Florida, Ms. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Following the May 2022 unprecedented leak of the draft Dobbs opinion, the justices of our Supreme Court have been subjected to harassment and intimidation campaigns, not only in the vicinity of the Supreme Court, but in public and also at their private homes where they reside with their families. This unlawful and insidious conduct culminated in June 2022 when a man attempted to assassinate Justice Brett Kavanaugh at his Maryland home. To be clear, when the intent is to interfere or impede the administration of justice or to influence or intimidate a judge, this is not protected First Amendment conduct. This is a crime. To date, the efforts by the Department of Justice and the FBI to prosecute and convict the individuals responsible for this criminal effort at intimidation outside the private residences of justices and their families is wholly inadequate. As a former judge, I will tell you this failure is an affront to every single man and woman across the United States who is serving in the judiciary. At the same time, the Federal Bureau of Investigation saw fit to begin investigating what it deems radical traditionalist Catholics as an extremist group. Taken together, we have a Department of Justice that has failed to prosecute violent extremists threatening the lives and safety of our Supreme Court justices and their families, but has instead devoted resources to investigating Catholics and their religious traditions. Congress must engage in oversight to ensure that Americans are not being targeted for investigation and surveillance by our government for practicing their religious beliefs, and that our judges and our justices are not being left vulnerable and in danger due to a failure to enforce the law. It is imperative that the Department of Justice and the FBI promptly and completely respond to our requests so that we may ensure the rights and freedoms of Americans are protected and there is complete transparency to the American people. With that, Mr. Uriarte, I would like to direct my first questions to you, and specifically related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. A February 16th, 2023 letter to Director Wray. On January 23rd, 2023, the FBI's Richmond Field Office published an official document that linked racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists with a radical traditionalist Catholic ideology. We made a request to allow this committee to assess the extent to which the FBI has misused its federal law enforcement resources to target Catholic Americans for their religious beliefs. That document requested all documents and communications referring to intelligence products about this subject for a period January 20th, 2021 to the present. Can you tell me, sir, how many documents have been provided to this committee that are responsive to that request?
Congressman, thank you for the question. I want to start by just making very clear, as the Attorney General said last week, and I know the Director has spoken to this as well, that product did not meet our standards at all. It was offensive to me personally, and as the Attorney General said last week, it was offensive to him. What I can tell you is that the FBI took steps immediately to withdraw that memorandum and are doing aggressive analysis to understand how that even came to be. And part of that will be, of course, responding to this committee, which we expect we will do in the coming weeks. That is a really important issue. I completely agree, and I expect that we will have good faith back and forth on that topic so we can get the committee the information it's looking for.
To this point, have any documents been produced that are responsive to this request?
My understanding is that there have not at this point been any documents produced, but that we have responses to those requests in the queue, and we hope to get them to you shortly.
Do you have a timeline or an approximation about when you will be able to get us the documents that are responsive to this request?
Congressman, I appreciate your interest in this issue. As I said, it's something that is important to me as well. I know that we have something that is forthcoming soon. Just I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, so we will get back to you shortly on that.
I certainly appreciate your acknowledgement that this is a serious issue and your acknowledgement that there is an intention to comply in the future with this document request. However, would just note that our efforts here, that our endeavor here is to ensure that we are actually receiving and reviewing these documents so that we can provide transparency to the American people about the contents therein. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.